Staff Sergeant Marcus Webb had been counting down the days for 3 months. 273 sunrises in Kandahar, each one bringing him closer to Sarah. He'd managed to pull some strings, call in a favor with his CO, and catch a transport out 2 weeks early. The whole flight back to Fort Campbell, then the drive through Tennessee to their small house in Clarksville, he'd imagined her face when she opened the door. It was just past 9 on a Thursday night when he pulled his duffel from the trunk of his buddy's borrowed Camaro. The porch light was on, the way Sarah always left it. Marcus had texted from Germany but hadn't heard back. She was probably asleep already, exhausted from her nursing shifts at the hospital. He'd kept the spare key on his chain through the entire deployment, and it slid into the lock with a familiar click. The house smelled like vanilla candles and something cooking, lasagna, maybe. Her favorite comfort food. God, he'd missed the simple fact of home. Sarah, he called out, dropping his duffel in the entryway. The living room was dim, but he could hear music playing softly from upstairs. He took the steps 2 at a time, that grin already spreading across his face, planning how he'd scoop her up in. The bedroom door was ajar. Through the opening, he saw them. Sarah, her auburn hair spilling across the pillows he'd thought about for 8 months. And next to her, a man Marcus didn't recognize, younger than him maybe, with his arm draped across her waist. Marcus stood frozen in the hallway. His mind went completely blank, the way it had once when an IED detonated 50 yards from his convoy. That same ringing silence, that sense of the world tilting sideways. Sarah's eyes opened. For a moment, she just stared at him, confused. Then her face went white. Marcus, she sat up fast, clutching the sheet to her chest. Oh my God. Marcus, you're not supposed to be home. The word came out flat. Yeah. Surprise. The man was scrambling now, reaching for his clothes. Marcus just stood there, watching it all like he was outside his own body. 8 months of letters. 8 months of video calls where she'd cried and said she missed him so much. 8 months of promises. Baby, please, let me explain. Sarah was out of bed now, throwing on a robe, her hands shaking. Explain what? Marcus heard himself say. His voice sounded strange, too calm. Looks pretty clear. I'm so sorry, man, I didn't, the other guy started, but Marcus held up a hand. Get out. The man didn't need to be told twice. He grabbed his shirt and shoes and practically ran down the stairs. The front door slammed a moment later. Sarah was crying now, mascara running down her cheeks. I didn't mean for this to happen. You were gone so long, and I was so lonely, and he was just there. Don't. Marcus backed away from her. Don't do that. Marcus, please. I love you. I made a mistake, but I love you. He looked at her then, really looked at her. This woman he'd loved since they were 23, who'd worn his grandmother's ring, who'd promised to wait while he served his country. She looked smaller somehow, or maybe he was just seeing her clearly for the first time. I thought about you every single day, he said quietly. Every morning I woke up in that desert, you were the first thing on my mind. When mortars hit the base, when we lost Jenkins to a sniper, when everything went to hell, I kept going because I had you to come home to. I'm still here. No, you're not. He felt something crack inside his chest, something that had been holding him together for 8 months. The woman I loved wouldn't have done this. He turned and walked down the stairs, each step feeling like wading through mud. Behind him, Sarah was sobbing, calling his name, but it sounded distant now, like a radio losing signal. His duffel was still by the door where he'd dropped it, full of dirty uniforms and letters he'd never sent. He picked it up and walked out into the Tennessee night. Marcus sat in the Camaro for a long time, staring at nothing. His phone buzzed, Sarah, already texting him. He turned it off. Somewhere across town, the bars on Franklin Street would be open. Or he could drive back to base, crash in the barracks, pretend this was just another mission gone sideways. Instead, he just sat there as the porch light flickered behind him, and let himself feel the full weight of coming home to a war that was supposed to be over.